let's look at a question from Surds today. The question is, we have the root of 3 over 1 minus the cos of 30, and then the question says that without using a calculator or a mathematical table, then we are told to express root 3 minus negative cos of 30 in surd form, and then you simplify. So the first part of it wants you to simplify this. No, you put it in the form of in the surd form, and then now you simplify. So let's look at it. Solution. Root of 3, this is 1 over cos of 30. So that means we need to express the cosine of 30 in surd form. But before we go here, in case you're watching us, make sure that for the first time, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That is the only way you can support us. Now, the cosine of 30. The question is that we are supposed to ask ourselves, how can you get the cos of 30 without using a calculator or a mathematical table? So I want to take you back to what we call the special angles. The special angles. And which angles are special? What are these special angles that we're talking about? So the special angles that we're talking about is the angle of 30, 45 degrees, and 60. These are the special angles. And another question is, why are they special? Why are they special? Why are they different from the other angles? So the reason why these angles are special is that you can get their trigonometry without using a calculator or a mathematical table. That means you can get the sine, the tan, and the cosine of 30, 45, and 60 without using a calculator. But now, how can we get that? So when you have 30, angle 30 and 60, we can get it from equilateral triangle. Because we know in equilateral triangle we have 60 degrees. This part also is 60 degrees. This also 60 degrees. But when we divide it into two equal parts, which is now a right angle triangle there, then we have this angle now is 30 and this angle now is 60. Now you can see that 30 and 60, we have achieved it already. But now, I want you now to pay attention. Let me sign it. Let me give the ratio here to be 2 or any other ratio. You can use any ratio, but let me use 2. 2, 2. Give it that ratio. So that means here is going to be 2. But now this is a half of 2, which is 1. Now, the vertical part of it, which is the height, you can use the Pythagoras theorem to get that. 2 squared minus 1 squared, and then you get the square root. So this one gives us root of 3. So that means from the SOHCAHTOA, whereby you know the sine is the opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and the tan is the opposite over adjacent. So that means that if now you want to determine, for example, the sine of 30. The sine of 30 here, we know the sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite of 30 with reference with our 30 here, the opposite is 1. That is 1 over hypotenuse, which is 2. And you can see it is true that the sine of 30 is a half. You can also get maybe the tan. See, how do you get the tan? Adjacent, which is 1. So the tan of 60 is root 3. So this one now you can define any trigonometry of the sine, the cosine, and the tangent of any angle that you are asked. So that means the cos of 30 that we want, which we were asked, cos of 30 is equal to, with our reference here with the 30, cos is equal to adjacent, which is the root of 3, root 3 over hypotenuse, which is 2. So that means the cosine of 30 in surd form is root 3 over 2. Now, before we go back here, how can you get 45, angle 45? How can we get the angle 45? So for us to get the angle 45, so we get it from what we call right angled isosceles triangle. So that means it is a right angle, but at the same time it is isosceles. So that means at 90 degrees, but the bases are the same. So if this is 90 degrees, and here and that are the same, so that means this one will be 45 degrees and this one is 45 degrees. But now in this case, I'm going to assign this length to be 1, and this one, since this is the same with that one also is going to be 1. So the hypotenuse side, which is remaining, is going to be, when you use the Pythagoras theorem, 1 squared plus 1 squared, then you get the square root. So this one becomes root 2, which is irrational number. And next time we're going to talk about the root 2 into detail. So when now you want to get the tan of 45, the cosine of 45, you just use the ratios to get it, because now here we have 1, 1, and root of 2. So we've seen now back here all over 1 minus, so cos of 30, when we use our angle there, our triangle there, we get it to be root of 3 over 2. So expressed in surd form, we have expressed, but now we want to simplify. So you guys, how can we simplify surds? How can we simplify surd? So if you want to simplify surd, so you multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. Top by bottom by what we call conjugate. And what is this conjugate? The conjugate means it takes the opposite sign of whatever you have in the denominator. For example, if we have 1 over root of 3 over 2, its conjugate is the opposite sign, which is 1 plus root of 3 over 2. So that is the conjugate. So make sure that you multiply up and down by the conjugate. So multiply the top here by 1 plus root of 3 over 2, down here again by 1 plus root of 3 over 2. Then we multiply out. So sweet, you guys. So can we now multiply root 3 multiplied by 1? We get root of 3. Root of 3 multiplied by root of 3 over 2. We get root 3 multiplied by root of 3 is 3. So that one we get plus 3 over 2. Then let's come down. So 1 multiplied by 1, we get 1. 1 multiplied by root of 3 over 2, we get plus root of 3 over 2. Let's come here. Root of 3 minus root of 3 over 2 multiplied by 1, we get minus root of 3 over 2. Then the last part, which is root of 3 over 2 multiplied by positive root 3 over 2. Then we have minus root 3 multiplied by root 3, we get 3. 2 multiplied by 2, we get 4. So this is minus 3 over 4, which is 3 quarters. So when we here know, so we have root of 3 plus 3 over 2 all over. So when we come down here, again, you see when you multiply by the conjugate, then the surd, any value under root will disappear. So root 3 over 2 minus root 3 over 2, we get 0. So we are remaining with the 1 minus 3 quarters. Yes, it looks so beautiful, you guys. So this one we have root of 3 plus 3 over 2 over 1, subtract 1 minus 3/4, we get a quarter. So that means for us to get divide by a quarter, that means root of 3 plus 3 over 2 simply means you are dividing by a quarter. And when you divide by a fraction, then you multiply the reciprocal of it. So this means we have root of 3 plus 3 over 2 multiplied by 4 over 1. So what do we have? So we have 4 root of 3 plus, multiply that. So this means 2 will go there too, 6. So we get our answer to be 4 when we simplify root of 3 plus 6. And this is how we mark it, you guys. If you are doing all this, you multiply, you are getting the root of 3, you are changing this one to in terms of surd, then we are giving you the method that we're using to be 1. So if you are substituting it well until you multiplying it out here, then we give you the bonus 1. When you do it correctly until you reach the answer, we give you answer 1. It's just that easy as A, B, C. So you guys, let's end there. In case you've learned something, please give this video a thumbs up. And may you see you in the next video. Bye-bye.